your name is spelled wrong.
No, my name is definitely spelt right.
You can't get products with my name on them at
Unprofessional.
all.
Okay, yeah, that's. Hi, Ollie. How are you doing?
Hello.
Oh God!
Welcome
no,
to Jarviskjir, A Mother's Love,
That's
the Twitch show that is slowly sapping my life force week by week.
You gotta let us have what little life we have left before the end.
I enjoy it. It was just somehow the most boring conversation in the world. Even though both of you spell your names a little weird, not super weird, but weird enough that I know I've definitely.
I was
had
engaging
that
in it because I felt his pain.
Yeah.
Oh, I
mean,
thought you were talking about me. I was like, mine is definitely the most common spelling of an uncommon name.
You're
Yes.
basic. Those
I mean,
being-
I
mean,
I
Ollie is
had
ultimate basic.
I had a whole childhood of people adding extra letters to my name. I was like 4. I was like, oh, Ollie, spell your name, and I'm like, I don't need all these extra letters. Get them out of here. And that's actually legitimately the reason why it's just OLI. Hey! Welcome to Jarviskjir, the Mother's Love, which is nearing the end of this season. If you can't feel the energy,
The tension. The TPK tension.
That's why they're worried about their mugs.
It's
Because they're going to need to cry their tears into them later.
a cup of tea is perfect to deal with the shock of a TPK.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. To catch up what's going on, I'm actually going to do a bit bigger of a catch up than I usually do, which I really should get in the habit of doing. This campaign is following Vale, the last child born of his civilization, on a quest to stop the leaders of the usurper elves in their underground kingdom. You kind of took it upon yourselves to do it just a little bit differently than you actually asked by the sun elves, systematically taking care of the daimyo's structure of powerful figures in the city. And you have. Only 2 are remaining. The daimyo herself, Lathura, and the Mad Priestess, who is her second in command and the shogun of the Drow Society. But now, they are, without a doubt, much closer together, which means that this is likely to be the final push. You actually left the city of Narashiro for a long time and are now just returning. The city is under quite a tight lockdown due to all the chaos that you've caused in it. And you are entering using the help of Tanuma, who is actually was one of the daimyo's friends, who you have turned this Tanuma clone to your side slightly because she actually kind of believes in the message that Vale is talking about there being peace between elves, along with her sister / her. She is guiding you through one of the asylum mausoleums that the drow keep their faded elderly within as they go mad with age, because underneath this structure is an old flooded tunnelway that used to be a tunnel into the depths of the city. And you are heading to find that. Is there anything I forgot? I will take your silence as a yes.
I would talk about Serena and Verena a little bit.
Yes! Of note, one of their party members, Serena, died and got cloned and has come back as someone a little bit different who is taking the name Verena because Serena doesn't quite feel comfortable as a name. She is exhibiting some strangeness compared to her usual self.
Being nice.
She's being nice.
It's not right. Something's wrong.
But right now, nothing nice at all is going on. You walked your way into the asylum, which is actually fairly unguarded. People are allowed to come and go as they please. You're not sure if this is just always the case, or maybe because the guard is so strict around the city right now, that the guard here are just not willing to put up any kind of fight to stop people entering, who may or may not be shady. While entering, you manage to accidentally, while trying to keep away the faded drow who live within this structure, they actually attacked you en masse, attacking you with their chains and with the psionic screams of their near feral madness. Indira actually was in front in the fray, managing to fight a lot of them off while you kept Tanuma safe, because she is the one who can guide you through this place, in theory. Shortly after this scene of you fighting them away, the majority, around 8 or so around you in this tunnel, actually realize that in whatever small bits of sanity they have left, as these usurper elves fade, they start to go a particular kind of cursed insane. They start to slink away, drift away into the shadows, into the grand... into the nooks and crannies, into spaces that maybe if this was like a functioning, asylum or ward, that would be, a sleeping area or a eating cafeteria, but they're just all chaotic rooms coated in crazed scrawlings and papers and things like that. All of the mind-lost drow slink away from your party after... mostly their screaming shook Indira to the core. She's actually very injured from this. Wouldn't be bleeding. It's not much a physical injury, but she would be shaken quite heavily. And that's where we begin.
I'm going straight up to Indira, seeing that she's shaken. Indira, you need healing. It is something that I have remembered from Serena's earlier days. And sort of what happens is that the shadows normally sort of come up onto her hands as she goes out to lay her hands on you, and then there's just sort of sparks of gold off them, and the shadows just move on to Indira and sort of go. It would normally look for wounds and sort of close them up, but here they just sort of sink into her instead, with the occasional golden spark as they do. It is meager, but it is all I can offer.
Feel better.
Damn right it, Megan. No.
Tanuma will say, kind of while tinkering with things in her hands, she's kind of plucked some of the clearly slightly arcana tech lanterns from the walls and is fiddling with them. That we should not dwell in this place, we should find a way to the depths where the tunnel is hidden.
Yes, let us move quickly. I have no wish to be attacked anymore.
No, and I would rather not kill these drow if it can be avoided.
Can two of you give me an investigation check or survival check with advantage? Decide that amongst yourselves.
I have a decent roll.
It ain't me, boys.
I've
It
got
ain't
decent
me.
survival, so I'm going with survival.
It ain't me.
I can survival. I can't
That's fine.
Do it.
best as well.
Do it.
Oh, well.
Boom.
Okay. As you walk, the rain outside on the mausoleum grows either more muffled or louder, depending where you are in the structure. But something you can notice is areas where this old elven construction has cracks and breaks where water is seeping through and always sinking to a lower point, which actually leads you quite easily to stairwells that are somewhat flooded with a trickling cascade of water down levels and levels and levels and levels. There's a lot of drow in this structure. And you already know that they were taking them out quite regularly, feeding them actually to the dragon that once terrorized the tunnels to the north. But even as you walk through and keep mostly to the lit pathways, you can see red eyes gleaming at you from the darkness, with the pupils so narrow you can barely see them. but they mostly keep out of your way due to a mixture of your intimidating presence, fear, all those sorts of things. But eventually, you come to the deepest part of this structure. This could have been a much longer thing, but you're all very quite talented adventurers at this point, where the water just sort of runs into the stone walls. At this point, there is no light guiding your way, but all of you have dark vision one way or another. Gilwyn's got goggles. Seems to be a dead end of just heavy, old, water-rotten stone.
So there's no like channel under the stone. The water is flowing through. It's just.
It kind of does look like some of the water is channeling under the stone with that survival check. It really does.
Is there enough water for me to get in and try and see if there's?
No, like
it is just
less than an inch.
Yeah. Okay.
Run through. Larger in some places, larger in others, where it's kind of channeled and cut.
Shall I try to move some stone?
Is this the passage we are looking for, Tanuma?
Logically, it should connect. There should be a way to open this wall somewhere. You all have had many adventures on the surface. Surely you've dealt with invisible doors before? Yes?
Maybe a little.
Serena's adventures were more on the open seas, but I'll see what I can do.
Investigation, please.
Vale will assist.
You said that so late. Just roll your own investigation.
Okay. It's kind of a given.
I know, but you waited. You're garbage.
Gilwyn will assist.
And Indira will insist Gilwyn.
Okay, insist that she
Insist.
assists. Gilwyn, roll with advantage. It's only week 37.
Holy God.
You start looking around, patting around. Eventually, Gilwyn, with the help of Indira, actually move an old, soggy barrel out of the way and find a stone that looks a lot smoother and more deliberately placed than the others. That can be pushed, and just like an adventure book, a large section of the wall just kind of creaks and pushes inward. A false door hidden within the wall. It's still incredibly heavy. You still need Indira to like shoulder barge it open, and it brings down a plethora of stone dust that's all this kind of wet paste at this point. But that leads into a waterlogged tunnel. It's not flooded like Tanuma once had to deal with, but there's clearly remnants of water rushing through this place in the past. The water has cut a slight channel through the middle, and the water is running through the middle right now. It actually seems to pick up from other points, probably under the earth, under Narashiro, where it just cascades down the walls. It's not like this is a sewer or a water runoff or anything. This is just an old tunnel that is leaking during the rains outside. And maybe even the groundwater coming up, because Narashiro sits under an aquifer, above an aquifer. But you can start heading your way forward through this rotten old tunnel. And eventually, you start to see shapes moving in the water. Snakes slithering through towards you. Probably the first creatures they've seen for quite some time. And, of course, we're gonna have a fight. We're gonna have a fight! Give me a moment to set that up. I don't need you to be in the arena. Not the arena.
God, it took me a moment to realise what you were just humming there, Neil. And then I remembered.
Dean.
Was it Dean? Oh, I thought it was Neil. Dean. Took me
You
a moment to
see
realise what you were
snakes
just humming, Dean.
starting to slither and move and shift through the tunnel. You actually shouldn't have light right now, so I'm just going to turn that off. But would it be reasonable to say that Gilwin would have cast light on himself?
Yes, absolutely.
Let me do that for you real quick, my friend. While you roll some initiatives. This time I will remember to roll initiative for Tanuma.
Numa, eh?
Oh man.
Okay. Tanuma gets a thing here. One sec. We start slow.
That's how it
Snakes.
should start. You should start slow and ramp up.
Yeah. That's the way.
Let's do it the reverse.
I have been making Mario Maker levels with my niece and nephew, and my nephew made a level that's really hard at the start and really easy at the end. It starts with Bowser.
Kids are stupid.
I know.
Excuse me?
It's great.
That's a
love
unique
it.
and cool concept.
You
Look
might
at
not say that when you play it.
Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. You start against the hardest boss.
That happens quite commonly in games, actually.
I think you are supposed to die, though.
Yeah.
Also that.
Yeah.
That's,
It's like playing in a D&D campaign with Ollie. Hey!
It's like Prototype, That happens in Prototype 1 and or 2.
What's Proto... Oh, yeah. Classic game.
Classic game. Sorry, I'm just actually finding the
Happens
initiative
in
for
Legend of Dragoon.
Legend of Dragoon.
What's that game?
My favorite.
I feel like I've seen someone stream it once, and like they were going to stream all of it, and then they only streamed a little bit of it.
Dean Cuddy is a busy boy.
Thank you, Ollie.
Yeah. Busy going to see films. Oh, it's a double whammy!
Avengers Endgame was terrific, everybody.
It also
It was a
ended
once-in-a-lifetime cinema experience with my best friends in the whole wide world.
Not these losers.
I feel like it's been planned for a year is our equivalence of we were on a break.
Yes.
It's a meme.
Okay, sorry for that taking a little while. Vale,
love you,
it's your turn first.
Right, let's see. I see one snack.
Mhm.
One snack. We got any difficult terrain here? Presumably traveling through the
The
water. is-
going over the actual rubble is going through the water is
going through the
And
rubble
the moral
is-
implications are also difficult to read.
Let me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I will prep an action, a reaction. If snake come, I stab.
Get away with words. What charisma modifier does Vale have?
Vale has a +2.
+2, everybody. The very water
I feel
pulses and rumbles. A large shape rocketing up forwards through it with a rushing torrent of water as the water itself rises. I'm pretty sure Vale and Gilwin have encountered a water elemental before. Indira and Serena almost definitely have as well. You've encountered elementals of some way before. So
Definitely encountered elementals, yeah.
their existence doesn't scare you. Humanoid water taking shape. In the dark, really only being illuminated by the magical light illuminating off whatever the hell Gilwin has cast light on. I don't really want to think about it. It's usually gross. Makes it pretty spooky, to say the least.
It's his nipples this time.
As it rises up, it sends off a spray of water, which only hits Vale because no one else is far enough forward, and is going to slow down as it starts crumbling around here, cracking and throwing rocks to the side as it moves, and is going to attack Vale twice, and is only going to hit once.
Can he dodge?
That first strike, you roll out of the way, and then there's just a with a arm made of water that is going to deal 18 bludgeoning damage, halved because of uncanny dodge. Yeah, it's like the sensation of jumping belly flop into water.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a good way to describe that.
right. Next
But
up is
harder.
Yeah, because that doesn't kill you. Because
Yeah,
18
that
damage
doesn't
would
kill
kill an
several
average person.
humans.
Yeah. Oh, I just went, Tanuma, what are you going to do? And I forgot I am Tanuma. What a good
It's
job.
real hard water in this area.
Oh my fucking god.
I unironically enjoy that. Tanuma is going to.
Wow, I get that's all I get.
Push Hope back a little bit and move with her. What she's kind of tinkered together appears to be a little bit of a shield. It's more like a buckler. When she kind of pushes and pulls on some parts, the lighting filaments that are inside the Arcana Tech lanterns kind of glow and shimmer, and a bit like a shield kind of carries a bit more than the actual metal apparatus would allow. Clearly just full protection. You need her to get into the Daimao's palace. She's trusting you to destroy what's in the way. And I'm sure Indira will.
Doesn't Serena go before me? Verena?
I mean, technically, I have a higher
Technically,
dex
you
mod,
should.
Yeah.
Yes. It didn't do that automatically, so it should be Serena.
Yeah.
Yep.
1, 2, 3. You said these snakes came out of the water, did you?
Out of the water, out of holes in the walls, things like that.
I'm gonna take a chance. I've got this little thing, but I don't get to use very often, so I'm hoping that they
Okay.
can breathe water. I am going to use Thaumaturgy to make my voice louder, and then say, "Beasts of the sea, I am your kin. Do not stand in our way. You will die."
Give me an intimidation roll with advantage.
Gonna scare water.
Well, I don't think it'll work on the elemental, but if I can get rid of the snakes, then
Snakes will just be like, "Oh yeah, cool, dude. Sorry."
You see, the snake
you were hit, throw down.
closest that your superior dark vision allows you to see kind of rise up a little bit, clearly understanding you, as these are water snakes. And will actually slink back to the holes whence they came.
Nice.
And I see
give-
Serena speak parcel tongue, and I'm very, very shocked.
Anything else you'd like to do?
no, that's it.
Indira.
Well, I'm gonna rage. I'm gonna take the opposite approach. I'm gonna rage. And I'm gonna go right here. And I am going to
Slice water.
Tanuma goes up. Tanuma like nudges Gilwyn and says, "This is going to be good." I only need to keep one page open now. Let me go back to it. That is a hit.
That's adorable, Neil. What is that?
It's a
Oh, are those
Percy pig?
the Percy pigs from M&S?
Mm-hmm.
They are a rare sweet in the UK.
Yeah.
So because
Toasty.
this is a magical hammer, Manbreaker, you actually slam the hammer into the water elemental and it causes a booming explosion inside it. Like when you see a bullet go through ballistic gel. Because usually your weapon wouldn't harm it so much.
Well, this time it does.
That is also a hit. Oh, it's massive!
Holy moly!
A creature made of water, and being an elemental made of water, its head just like disappears and reappears on another part of it as it kind of wheels around in a position where it can better face opponents on both sides.
His head
Would be
just
the
goes.
snakes. The snakes would usually take their turn now, but they have been calmed. They have been tamed. So next is Gilwyn.
Okay, I will take one step to kind of shield these two ladies to my right a little bit better. And I will cast Dissonant Whispers at second level at the water elemental.
Uh-huh.
And I will
Wisdom
say,
saving throw.
"Someone get the mop."
They fail.
Oof.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
And it may use it in
Not
action
terrible.
if available. The more important thing is that happens. You see a shimmer rocket through the water, almost like a shiver, and it kind of sprays water a little bit, and then will start wheeling away back towards the water, which means both Vale and Indira do get opportunity attacks because it is willingly moving.
Schwung.
You're right, Doc.
Can
Not
I-
terrible.
Can I do my lightning damage for my opportunity attack? Because I really am curious. As to what that
I
be.
would allow that for like an ability you can use. Why not?
Okay,
So, Dex save, which it fails.
nice. And
Because it kind of fits the way that you're constantly
This is
allocating electricity.
1d6,
and stuff
right?
like that.
I mean, you didn't. Yeah.
Okay.
Does a
nothing
17 hit?
special with lightning and water. No.
Not in this case.
Damn. All right. I had to know.
You gotta
I
see.
rolled less
17
damage
hits.
to find
Yeah.
out.
But several fish float to the top of the water, now we're dead.
Yeah, the electricity would arc from you through the tunnel. It would look badass.
Looks like
It's
the
a
Emperor
moment.
dying.
It's a moment that when I eventually make my Jarviskjir card game will be immortalized forever.
Yes.
50 years.
That is obviously a magical weapon as well.
Yes, as the elemental turns literal tail and run, you can just cut through it, and a whole chunk of the water elemental basically turns into a bubble and
Sploosh.
splashes before it keeps on moving, and it goes quite a way. Anything else you want to do, Gilwyn?
I'm good, I'll stay right here.
Vale,
No, come back.
you saw the creature rush away into the darkness.
I wonder what's in there. Go get it.
Go get it, boy. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bonus action dash. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dash again.
Regular
1,
action
2,
dash.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, you've disappeared.
Hallelujah.
Okay.
That's what the viewers want. Yeah, and that's my turn.
Okay.
Oh no, that was a mistake. Oh dear. Should have run 6 less. And put on a reaction.
Seeing you approach, the elemental that was kind of reared up outside of the water dips back in and kind of reforms around you slightly. Vale, can you give me a strength saving throw?
Yeah,
Starts
I
to twist
can.
and whirl around your legs. Can anyone currently see Vale?
No.
I sort of.
I
I
can.
can.
You would see a glint of gold as Vale gets sucked into the swirling water elemental. It's most likely a yelp before he gets cut off by the swirling water. You are going to take 12 bludgeoning damage, and you are grappled by the creature, and you are restrained and unable to breathe. You're in the elemental, basically.
But it can't attack me, presumably.
It doesn't do anything else in its turn.
That'd be OP if it could. Because when you're restrained, I think... Oh no, it's stunned that's auto-crit, isn't it?
Yes.
Tanuma doesn't really do anything. Serena.
Okay, so Verena would call out, "It's got Vale!" And, yeah, gonna Misty Step. 30 feet.
My coffee's gone cold. What's the point of a heat wave if your coffee doesn't stay warm for like 10 extra minutes?
It's so blessedly cool today compared to
It
yesterday.
is, but
It's so good. I woke up this morning and I just lay there like,
blessed day.
literally. And then I got up and opened the window and praised the sun. as I do every morning.
Movement further down here. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Swim speed, baby!
7. Yep. swim speed.
Swim
Would presumably, from Serena's memories, I'd know whether hitting something. Would I know hitting something a water elemental that's?
It's a large creature. There's enough of the elemental that you aren't going to attack Vale in this case.
Yeah. Okay.
Some creatures like this do have something like that.
Yeah. So and then going to cast Blight on it. I mean, it's got Veil. Don't want it to have Veil. That's quite a good roll.
Damn, son.
I think it failed it. I think it failed it.
Cast this spell. A little bit of dark, almost moldy blackness starts to recede up the water elemental. It turns entirely black before just bursting, and the water almost steams and disappears away, leaving no real trace. It actually kind of evaporates a large chunk of the water around it, making Vale drop to the ground.
Thanks, Verena.
You are welcome. Those things are rather unpleasant if they capture you.
Yeah.
And that's the fight. You scared away the fish, and you easily took care of the elemental.
The fish.
Snake fish. Let's call the whole thing off.
The fish snakes.
That's our show, everybody.
There you go.
That's all, folks. Okay. And with that, you can start continuing down the tunnel warily. For anything else that might dwell in a place like this, you do sort of see... You're aware of the little cracks and crevices that the sea snake slivered off down. But Verena successfully used her ability as a queen of the sea, princess of disputed rank right now, to scare them away. You can continue down this dark, dank tunnel.
Just so you know, I'm going to use flexible casting and the Pearl of Power to do some.
You don't have a Pearl of
manipulation
Power. Serena had a Pearl of Power.
What did I not? Did they not collect any of my items before they picked up?
I mean, we grabbed her
You
body.
would have. I suppose so. You would have.
I was
It's not
kind of
like you
wondering.
left Serena's body somewhere. Okay,
No,
I'll
exactly.
allow it. You also have had time to attune to it.
Yeah.
We took every little bit, even. And is it? Would it not already be attuned? Is this Serena? Is this not Serena?
Who knows?
So just because it appeared and we were talking about quiet creatures, Ebimaru, if you cook a mind flayer, are they like calamari?
They are the Jarviskjir version of Mind Flayer are far more squid-like than the
I was just
Faerûni.
wondering because I could see dwarves hunting calamari. You know, like when all you got is mushroom, calamari for a feast, right?
But they're allies. You wouldn't eat your ally, would you?
Shifty eyes.
I don't know. That's pretty evil.
You keep on going. The trek through the tunnel, it takes a few hours. It's never really that uncomfortable. You figure if this was a long time ago, and if you want to see that pit, just to retread, when I mentioned that they're more squid-like, there's sketches of that up on the Patreon. Ooh, check out how different Jarviskjir is. I'm original. It looks like if this tunnel was new, it would be quite a nice walk. It's not like it would be entertaining, but it's a almost completely square shape the whole way through. It's not got any kind of real collapsing. There's areas of rubble and stuff, but that seems to be more detritus that has rolled in through the flooding rather than the roof falling in, which is better. It does mean that there are occasionally fungal wood logs, bones of various creatures and things. But the actual trek through this tunnel is not a difficulty for any of you. It takes a long time, but eventually you come to just another wall. Similar to how you entered, You know it's a trick wall. Indira, can you give me a athletics check real quick?
Mm-hmm.
This one you got to pull because you're kind of from the inside. Doesn't really take you very long. It's a well-earned breather for the rest of them. You just kind of pull the trick door in, and it opens up into a dusty ruin somewhere in the Drow Undercity where the slave army is. There are a lot of these kind of sunken buildings that most likely were very nice a few thousand years ago in that kind of area. A lot of the colour has bleached from all the structures here. Water's pooled in parts of the building. It's hard to tell what it was, but it was probably some kind of church or something. You know how it is. Outside, there's actually a usurper elf beggar who has a pack filled with things. Very frail looking, who is picking around in the street outside, which is really just kind of like a pile of rubble and trash that's flooded down here or has been left here, picking for coins, seeing what they can find. The rest is just dark and quiet. But you figure you could find your way to the slave army's old camp when you're here. It's been over 120 days, more like 150 with travel time. You don't know if they would still be there, but it'd be a good way to check.
I feel like one of these buildings might be a nice place to rest.
Probably a good idea to gather our strength before we enter the city.
I think we'll have to be a little bit more careful on our watches, though. If we're planning to stay overnight or at least a long time.
I agree.
I'm not that tired, so I'm happy to stay up first.
Well, if we go inside the orb, you'd have to be outside for it to stay up, so you can't take a watch.
That means it is between the three of us, then. I will take first watch if you two wish to rest.
I will need a rest, but I can take a watch.
Alternatively, we could risk it and all hide inside the bubble.
It would be best if we are aware of anything, even if we are not attacked. If something or someone sees us and reports us, it is best to know that. This has been pointed out. This is going to likely to be far more dangerous than the previous times we have been here.
Probably not a good idea to roll the dice on this one. Yeah.
Fair enough.
All right.
Well,
So I find a suitable location and stick the key into the ground and twist it.
So it's Gilwyn, Verena, Indira Vale?
Gilwyn can't take one, so I can
Why?
take 2 shifts
Why
because
can't
you can't leave the bubble
But you can
Why?
see
It's a
as
key.
the
You can leave a
as the-
bubble.
It's a key.
as the caster.
I'm not casting
You're
it.
not casting it. It's an item.
Okay, sure. Then that's fine then.
So
I will happily take a watch.
I'm gonna rest the whole time then, since you guys are all eager to take watches.
Sure, you're making this way more complicated than it has to be.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough time for all of us to have a full rest, I feel.
Yeah, it's plenty.
Okay. During your rest, whoever's on watch, you know, it would be a very anxious sort of place to stay resting. Now that you're quite heavily in the wet season of the Underdark, all the tunnels are, this far down, are waterlogged. The sides of the walls are slippery and covered in this water that, as you learn, as Vale learned, is actually toxic, and you can kind of see the kind of rainbowy gloss of the poisonousness of the water on the glossy walls at some points when light does make it down here. But it's incredibly dark down here. Being under a drow city, there is constantly noise of some way, shape, or form. Screams in the distance, the rushed footsteps of a large group of people, sometimes distant music that just flows and disappears as quickly as it does appear. But you're never encountered by anyone. No one on watch ever sees anything. No one seems to pay a lot of attention to what's down here. Drow are always looking up. So, after a rest, recovering from that hefty walk, what's the plan, team?
We need to speak with the Ronin. I think is the first plan. Need to go and speak to the Ronin to get the ball rolling on potentially starting an actual,
Assault.
an actual big fight. While we make our way into the uppermost echelon to fight the Shogun.
And at the very least, even if they can't provide mithril, hopefully that's the smith with the Ronin's army can provide me with some armor now that I can equip it. Every little helps.
That it does. Especially when we're about to go up against two bosses.
Exactly.
Not
Okay.
be sad. Figure out a way to get a higher AC also.
Okay. You, once you're all rested, start your way, navigating around the sunken ruins at the bottom of Narashiro to find the Proud Ronin's rebellious camp. Which you do. It is more or less where it was left. The team of people who are on guard don't stop you once they realize who you are. They're a little bit surprised to find you, and would motion you through. It does seem like there's kind of less people here, but the people who are here are much better armed. When you first encountered these people, they were such a ragtag group fighting with simple spears and things. It seems like the majority of people, especially who are like currently on guard, have various style weapons and or armor to some degree. Sometimes it's just a shield or a bracer on the arm or something. But they have equipment. Some of the equipment also is clearly being stolen from the city guard and the manufactory district, leading them to have a very colourful hodgepodge of colours on their armour, because this army doesn't really have its own symbol or colours. So it's just kind of whatever their armour is. But what is kind of notable, last times you were here, there was almost a bit of a safe refuge for escaped slaves. There seems to be almost entirely military personnel at this point. Anyone who isn't fighting, who isn't preparing a weapon, or isn't, an elf meditating off to the side. There's no one just, fixing clothing or preparing food or anything like that, or families who've escaped. That all seems to have left, which is why it seems so empty here.
I guess we'd make our way to the Ronin's tent.
Yep.
You make your way to that almost like meeting desk area that has the circular stone fire pit. It's almost like a desk. The Ronin's armor is a little bit different. Clearly seen some scrapes. And she would give you a bit of a nod when you approach, and would say that it's about time that you showed up. I wasn't exactly relying on you for the fights ahead. It would have been a great assistance to have your swords.
Unfortunately, we were indisposed.
There were complications, shall we say.
We're here now.
And I presume you are coming here with a scheme or an idea or a need for me. Am I correct?
You are?
Then out with it, please.
We need to kill the daimyo.
Yes.
We have a way into her palace. However, we need the majority of the forces to be busy.
We did talk about this before, how for a successful assault on the palace to go ahead, that you would need my army to assault elsewhere, like we used with the War Strider. Are you finally aiming for the head?
Indeed. I believe we will have to kill the daimyo and the mad priestess at the same time. As I understand it, they rarely leave each other's sides at the moment.
That would be correct, according to our spies in high places.
What do you think? A lot of your people will be massacred, and a lot of their people will as well, but
Thus is the way of war. Now, it is a convenience that the formal armies of the Daimao have had service side, so it will only be the guardians of the High Palace. Not that our army has a way to attack such a place. We would need a teleporter to do something like that, and someone to function the teleporter.
Vale would glance at Tanuma.
I see. We have been able to secure some territory within the manufactory district, as it is without a leader, and with the war on, focuses have been elsewhere. We can easily fight our way to the teleporter within the War Strider's old chambers, utilize it to enter the High Palace, and while we fight the soldiers here will not fight against the palace guards, but it will distract a grand number of them for you to get to the Daimao.
You said that the war is distracting. The armies are away.
Supposedly, taking the fight to the real enemy.
I see.
I believe it is the only way to keep morale.
If this is true, then this is all the more reason to move as quickly as we can.
I was hoping to let the armies exhaust themselves, but when it comes for aiming for the head, one must be swift. I will be willing to pledge my army's allegiance, provided that you succeed.
We cannot promise that.
I understand. I suppose I will just have to have faith.
Or, assistance in any way.
I am pledging my army to you. Is that not
Of
assistance
course.
enough?
I'm just saying, if you want us to promise to succeed, if there's anything that we ought to know or have, you would happily accept it.
She just gives you this very real look. Where she's kind of always had a bit of a mask. It's a very real, perturbed look.
While what Indira says might sound rude, I notice many of your soldiers are equipped with Viristal. Your equipment has got better. If there is anything you can offer us, it is better to let some more of your men die and us succeed, so that no one dies for nothing.
I am pledging you my armies. What my women in the field have cannot be spared. You are already brimming with magical relics armors, various style of your own.
We shouldn't strip our own allies.
Gilwin, it's not stripping our allies. If we fail here, they will all die.
I will see about what we can loot from the manufactory district while we are storming it. I am sure a supply room of healing reserves will go greatly with you. Strong healing potions would be wasted on some of my soldiers and better used with you. I think that can be done when the time is right.
Tanuma,
If you would
Do
like
you-
to.
do you know? This is just a theory, I suppose. But do you know? Would it be possible to change the exit of a teleportation circle? Maybe.
They are
Am
not
I-
one-to-one. It doesn't make a tunnel. It makes a web.
Okay.
From one teleportation circle, if you know the address of another, you can go to it. Anywhere in theory within the globe, but there are ways to teleport outside of it. I know a teleportation circle that is not the one within the Daimau's own chambers. That is encrypted beyond research I've been able to do. It is within the Daimau's gardens, right ahead of her throne room. You'll have to fight your way through it. I most likely will be sending the army here somewhere else to cause a larger distraction beforehand.
You know her better than us. Would you anticipate her, if not outright destroying the circle? It would be heavily guarded, I'm assuming now.
The only way in and out of the high city is these teleportation circles or flying mounts. I doubt they would have been destroyed, especially considering it to create a new one takes at least a year of time. I think they would be heavily guarded. If they're not, I would be suspicious.
So, we have a plan that involves us getting into the palace, you assaulting. Do you have enough forces to assault well, of course you would have to teleport in as well.
If we teleport into a different area of the palace, we'll be able to cause... It won't be much more than a distraction. But that might be all you need to stop the full honor guard up in the high palace from storming you at once. I'm less worried about the samurai, but the spellcasters...
I have another option available to me. If you want us to succeed, I can signal my people.
There's like a long held breath. I do not know if that would be wise, Aravail. I do not know as much about your people as you do. It would very much distract the Daimao. It would be the fight that she has been bringing her people towards in all this time. And it would be a greater distraction.
I understand that your people and my people hold deep-set hatred, dislike of each other. However, my people, perhaps not the High Lord, but my people will listen to me. I have been chosen by a messenger of our God. It is difficult to argue with that when your entire culture is based on faith.
If
They
you have
would-
a way of contacting them and assuring that they do not take our side as enemy, then that might mean that this is not a suicide mission for my people.
I would die before I allowed them to attack your people out of any non-misunderstanding. You and I now, we all have fought together, maybe not on the same battlefield, but for the same thing. We are brothers and sisters in this battle. It seems it would be a dishonor upon those who have already fallen if we did not use all the resources available to us.
I will allow this. Whatever terms between your people and mine that will come of this will be something we have to decide at another date. But if it assures victory, then it would be a wise choice. You have a way of contacting your people in your city?
Yes, we were given one item that would allow us to inform them, tell them what is going on, and have them ready at the appropriate time. Thank you. They would offer like an arm, like he raised his hand for like an arm clasp.
She would do that while her other hand never leaves her sword hilt. And would just kind of walk past you afterwards and would say, then the battle is ahead of us. There'll be no time for waiting, no time for tea. We march. And I think that's a good place. As she starts walking, armor clanking,
Shit, mate.
to bring her army together to take a break.
Agreed. I need to fear P.
Fear
desperately.
P, yeah, absolutely. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.